Hello everyone, Cyngaege here, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, the final parts, where we storm Medeus Castle and go nuts. Let's do this. We made it. Now we just have to find Medeus. Sire, Lord Goto is here to see you. Marth, you have fought splendidly. Lord Goto, what are you doing here? I washed my hands of humankind in their foolish ways long ago. But you and your companions have convinced me that was a rash decision. Perhaps there is hope for you yet. Allow me to offer what help I can. You mean you'll fight with us? Yes, I may lack power to stop Medeus, but his minions are another story. Let this old man strike them down and clear a path for you. The gods have chosen you, Marth, Prince of Lights. Go now, and win back a future for us all. Your family would be proud. His last words were as follows. Tell my son that I leave the future of Altea and our continent in his hands. Your sister knows that you are the future of Altea, nay, the whole lands. Come, my friends, we have a dragon to tame. Help me confine Medeus to the shadows for all eternity and bring light back into the world. Dang. So, yep. This is a fun map, it is. So, there's pretty much one way to do this map. And I do mean pretty much one. So, first things first. Looky here who we have. We have Elise here, who can talk to Merrick. Princess Elise, you're safe. Oh my, Merrick, is that you? I haven't seen you in ages. So you've been fighting with the League? Thank you for keeping Marth safe. Well, I did learn a spell or two in Kadeen. Here, Princess, get behind me. I'll face the enemy for us both. You'll face the... Oh, Merrick. What's so funny, Princess? I was quite serious, I'll have you know. Forgive me, Merrick. It's just, I remembered you when you were little. You were always a bit delicate. Oftentimes I had to nurse you back to health, remember? But that was... I couldn't... Yes. And look at you now, such a brave, strong man. A far cry from the old Merrick. But you don't have to pretend. I know you're far too sweet to mow down hordes of enemies. And I think I prefer it that way. You do? So yeah, here's Goto, with the only Swarms tome in the game we get to use. Unfortunately, he's just too slow to use it the way I want him to use it. So I'm just going to give Merrick the Swarm Tone. Wait, what's it require? Ah, crud. Let me restart the map. We're just going to restart the map. We can actually do this an easier way. Because that's the only guy I have to worry about so that Elise doesn't die. So we're just going to do it the easy way. Just ignore this. Dragon's back. Oh yeah, Marth got a lot of stat boosters, as I said. We already saw this, so... Okay, Goto will attack this guy. And then Merrick. Okay, we then warp Marth here. And Lena reaches level 20. She capped one stat, and that was luck. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So yeah, Marth's going to be attacked like crazy from the back, but he should be able to handle it. So let's just see. Yep, this guy's the thing that does the most damage to Marth aside from Medeus. Okay, Marth, do not crit this guy, I beg of you. Thank you, Marth. Now I don't have to worry about him possibly dying. Now everyone's just going to be running at me. They're ready to fight Marth. They're out for blood. But Marth ain't got no time for that. See? Marth can one-round Medeus. So, first things first. Let me see. Yeah, see, I let no one die, so we actually have the Alm Staff for the end. Yeah, I decided to give all other stat boosters that I didn't give to Marth to Elise just to make her look useful. Okay then, Marth. Time to do it. Here we go. The final fight. Foolish humans. You dare disturb me while I slumber. Oh, how you will regret it as you die slowly, painfully, writhing in the fires of the inferno. Ugh, defeated again by humans. Know this, Altian Prince. That light which surrounds you is only a temporary respite. So long as the darkness in your hearts continues to sustain me, I cannot be destroyed. One final level up, a point in defense. And that's the end game. See? Nice and short. After Medeus's demise, Dolo would relax its shadowy grip on the land and fade into obscurity. The Empire was finished. The fires of war that had raged across Arcaneo would die, and light would come to take darkness's place. But before any of that came to pass, there were a few final moments of Marth's tale that need telling. Marth, you did it. It's finally over. I've waited a long time for this day, and now I'm not entirely certain what to do with it. Marth, we haven't talked much since leaving Talus, but I thought, do you know where you will be going? To Altea, of course. War has left my kingdom in shambles. I cannot waste another day. I must return to help rebuild. So I suppose that means you have bid Talus farewell for good? Don't be silly, Sheeta. I need to at least thank your father and tell him the fighting is done. My father? Marth, I'm not asking about my... Never mind, please excuse me. Marth, did something happen? I just passed Sheeta and she looked heartbroken. No, well, we were just talking and she asked me. Oh, Marth. How can a man who faced the Shadow Dragon be so desperate to avoid facing his own feelings? What? I don't know what you are on about. You wish to send Sheeta home to Talus, then, and return to Altea alone? That is what you want? Well, that's where we both belong. I don't see what my wants have to do with anything. Clearly not. Marth, if you have anything to say to Sheeta, say it now. Love cannot always make the leap from heart to heart by itself. Sometimes you must speak it aloud and give it wings. Surely a great leader like you can muster the courage for that. Sheeta, might I, have a moment? I did not speak my heart before. When I said I would go to Altea, I had hoped you would be at my side. As you said, we have not spoken much since Talus. With you, I felt I never had to say anything. If the battle startled to take its toll, you were always there, close by. I would see you there so so brave. And I would, derive great strength. Derive. Why is this so difficult? Sheeta, I'm just trying to tell you Moth, shh, me too. So concludes the tale of Falchion, Blade of Light, Moth its wielder, and his battle with the Shadow Dragon. Herein its events have been chronicled, that none may ever forget. A campaign summary! Yep, and now y'all get to see how much time I wasted on certain maps. A lot of the times when I did the grinding, I actually walked away, so... Let's just look at this. You can tell which maps I grinded on and which ones I didn't by the turn counts. Let's see. Champions of Aurelis, no, I think the Fire Emblem. Yeah, look at these turn times. Ah, there's Port Warren at 82. Only an hour spent grinding? Huh, it felt like a lot longer than that. Looking at all these, I remember the annoyances I had in each of them. Wooden Cavalry. I think that was the second to last one I had to do where I had to reset the map. You know, I started recording and I failed like way in. Where's the last one? One more, not the Sable Order. Yeah, Manakete Princess. I actually had to restart a thing on that. I accidentally hit attack with Bantu and Tiki critted him. She would have killed him in one hit anyway, but man. Oh, Night-Filled Sky. Yep. Two turns for the last map. That's ridiculous. And now we get to see everyone. Altean Prince, Marth. Marth returned to war-torn Altea and devoted all his energy to restoring the kingdom to its former glory. He was later crowned king. Sheeta visited her father in Talus before returning to Altea with Marth. Their whispers of love warmed the castle halls. Valiantly lured the enemy away to ensure Marth's escape from Altea, but sadly no one ever heard from him again. Poor Jagan. But don't worry. Cain remained in Altea to instruct younger knights in the ways of war. He was a shining example, never did he neglect his training. Altea's shield, Abel. Abel left the army and opened a small shop. He was to be married, but in the end his fellow knights were his most steadfast companions. I'm not going to talk about that. Gentle giant Drog. Drog was put in charge of an outland garrison. The people there soon came to love their kind but stalwart protector. The Ungagged. Gordon squired himself to an Arcanean knight to further his mastery of the bow. Later he returned to Altea with his brother, who we did not meet in this game, and by the way he was squired to, can't remember the guy's name. Reese built a monastery and spent his remaining years caring for children who had lost their parents to the war. George, that was it. Loyal Blade, Ogma. Ogma returned to Talus to serve its people. Perhaps love was not his long suit. History contains no record of him marrying. The Hatchet, Barst. Barst briefly enlisted in the Arcanean army, but later deserted to become a pirate by some accounts. The Lopper, Board. Board returned to his peaceful life as a woodcutter. In time, he became renowned for his craftsmanship. The Cropper, Cord. Cord returned to his peaceful life as a woodcutter. In time, he became renowned for his speedy work. That's clue. Cord has more speed, Board has a higher skill growth, haha. Castor hurried home to his aging mother, medicine in hand. They lived modest lives. Daros. 69 wins, good man. It was a book to the sea for Daos. By all accounts carefree, yada yada yada. Pirate, pirate, pirate. Honest thief, Julian. Julian gave up thievery for good and found an honest job in Macedon. Hint, hint. Angel to all, Lena. Lena cared for orphans at a convent in Macedon and doled out love in equal shares to all she met. Navarre vanished after the Great Struggle, but for years imposters appeared, hoping to profit from his reputation the world round. That's also a hint to something in the next game. After helping Moth stamp out the fires of war, Merrick returns Cadine, where he continued his magical studies. Mathis left the army in favor of a dull and predictable life in Macedon. To him, bliss. Hardin. Nina offered Hardin her hand in marriage, and so he was crowned the 24th king of House Arcanea. Plays into the next game. Wolf remained a knight of Aurelis. He helped rebuild and later captained an elite force known as the Wolf Guard. Sedgar. Sedgar remained a knight of Aurelis. He helped rebuild and later became vice captain and pillar of the Wolf Guard. Rochea left the army, but later returned and became an Aurelian paladin. Records show he resided in Altea for a time. Violend remained a knight of Aurelis and helped rebuild. Always he put the friends with whom he had grown to manhood first. Wendell became the senior mage in Cadane and embarked on a journey that took him from land to land in pursuit of truth. Rickard returned home to live in peace, or so he claimed, even as the area experienced a surge in break-ins and purse snatchings. Bantu sealed the Dragonstone's power and disappeared, but his wish was to live out his years in the Dulrian countryside. History lost track of Caesar after the war. Perhaps he found work as a bodyguard, or perhaps some country made him its general. Rad fell in love during the war and gave up his sword to win the woman's heart. Whether he succeeded, we shall never know. Useless people. Still single, Roger. Roger found his way back to Groost in the end and reached out to many people whom the war had touched, and did not marry. George worked diligently to rebuild Arcanea. Later he was chosen from the palace's knights to become archer captain. Yep, plays into the next game. After studying in Cadine for a spell, Princess Maria returned to Macedon to serve her people as a cleric. Minerva put all her effort into restoring Macedon to glory. All wished for her to be queen, all except Minerva herself. Lind entered Princess Nina's protection and became a lady at court. That explains stuff. Jake helped rebuild a town destroyed during the war. He and his lover Anna always dreamed of traveling to far-off continents. Medea honored her princess's request to remain with the Arcanean Knights and later became their captain. Dolph had a short career as a general before leaving the army. Some said the move was a something rejection of his knowledge. I have no idea what that said. Maslin left the Arcanean army without a word of explanation. He settled near the border and formed a band of watchmen. No one knows what became of Tomas after the war, but some suggested he returned home to live in peace. Boa resumed his duties as Arcanean's royal bishop, guiding the kingdom while its people got back on their feet. Beck became famous for subjugating a group of borderland rebels who, having never seen a ballista, panicked and promptly surrendered. Astrum was made captain of Arcanea's Free Company. He was given the sword Mercurius, and with it carved quite a name for himself. The war left this once self-assured knight's heart in knots, but still Paulo worked diligently at rebuilding Macedon. Catria returned to Macedon to rebuild. Love for a certain man flared in her heart, then flickered when it went unrequited. At Jagan's request, Aaron became captain of Altea's Knights. His effort helped many to Many a town rise from the ashes after the war. Wait, I thought Jagan was never seen again. Hint, hint. After the war, Zane left without a word. It was not until later that Moth learned his true identity. Next game. Est fell in love with an Altean knight and found more happiness in a woman's life than a warrior's. Hint, hint. Tiki lived a peaceful life with Bantu. She spoke fondly of her adventures with Moth, even long after they had ended. People's Man, Lorenz. Lorenz put Grust's prince upon the throne and became his regent, but he and Arcanea did not always see eye to eye. Elise returned to Altea with Moth. Ever serene, she stood by her brother and watched him grow into a fine leader. And Goto! At Nina's request, Goto became Archmage of Arcanea. The world never knew a better teacher. And Frey! Frey stayed in Altea to rebuild his ravaged kingdom. That's how important Frey was. So yeah, that is the end of Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, everybody. I thank you all for watching. I've been Cyngaege, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody!